Welcome, dear Galactic Spirit. I am your host, Jamie Lynn, as we start adventuring into the 13 days of mirror. So let me ask you, is the mirror of your soul cloudy or distorted? Or do you have a clear vision of yourself? How are you being a reflection of your reality? Or are you reflecting what you want to be in the world? Or are you reflecting what you don't want to be in the world? That is what mirror is all about. And it's all about doing mirror work. You know, Louise Hay, and I know her, she published one of my books, and very, very fascinating woman. She taught the world about mirror work. And mirror work isn't really looking in the mirror to see your aging face or your imperfections, or is it? It's looking in the mirror to get a clear vision of who you are, so you can speak honestly with yourself, to have clarity about your world and your inner mastery. And I don't know if you've ever done this before. Certainly you have. I did many times as a kid. I would always get excited when there was two mirrors that were parallel each other. And these mirrors would bounce back and forth, and you would see into infinity. And I used to think that that was so cool. And now looking back on that moment and really what that looks like, it's really a magical and powerful reflection, metaphor of looking infinitely at yourself and looking infinitely at yourself in relation to the infinite cosmos. And we're going to be talking about that. So we're going to be talking about mirror. And before we do, you know, every lesson I try to give you a little bit more information about the system of galactic spirit. It was based upon ancient Mayan glyphs found in the Yucatan Peninsula. These glyphs, these symbols, are symbols of your universal birthrights that we all aspire to in order to create ease and grace in our lives and to really live heaven on earth, as compared to being a reflection of our external world and letting that influence everything we do in our lives, or going inward, seeing the infinite cosmos, seeing your infinite galactic spirit within yourself, experiencing the divine matrix within yourself in order for your innate source to be the core of your happiness, as well as for you to be able to manifest anything you want in the outer world, going with the flow with it, of course, interacting with it, but not being victim to it. And mirror is a very important energy because it gives us the time to really look at our inner reflection and see what makes us tick and how we are responding to the external world as a reflection about us. That's one way to look at mirror. And the other way to look at mirror is, are we reflecting our inner, most beautiful source of self with the world? Are we reflecting our self-mastery out into the world? Because as you know, that with this endless reflection, with this ripple in the pond, as we drop our pebble of self into the void of the cosmic juice in this cosmic ocean, we ripple our influence out into the world. So that is the conscious choice that we make as we step into our mirror selves, as we look in the mirror, as we discover who we are, and if our mirror is clear, and if we have clarity of thought and clarity of self, which gives us lots of other potential for infinite downloads, for our ability to see with clarity and without distortion. So like I said, and remember, this is all stream of consciousness. What comes down at the moment, and I just share it with you. And what I'd like to do is share with you where we are in the system of this beautiful numerological matrix of universal consciousness known as Galactic Spirit. That's what I call it, because that is my expression of the original emojis. Emojis are expressions of these glyphs that were carved in stone. And as I mentioned last time, we just finished the 13 Days of Serpent, which was all about initiating passion, our primal instincts, the wisdom that comes from the snake from biting the apple, as well as the quickening and catalyst for our abilities to transform, because we just started with the serpent, and I'm showing you these images as a reminder where we are in the beautiful 260-day wheel within wheels. Here's the 260-day map of human consciousness. Each one of these is one of these brilliant little day by day energies. Remember, you can get them for free on Galactic Spirit, and we're going to be talking about these in a second. And those are, and we have 13 days in mirror. So in mirror, just as a reminder, we have 13 days of mirror. This is the macro energy, and of the macro energy, we are ascending the spiral for the 13 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 13. Each of these not only having a numerical and profound influence on your life, but also as you progress, they also have the macro energies, which I just showed you in these beautiful little cards a second ago. But we're ascending up to into the mirror, 13-day mirror, and we are in the house of mirror, in the castle, the blue castle of transformation. And as a reminder, we just finished Serpent, now 13 days of Serpent, now we are in Mirror, then we move into Monkey, Magic, Play, and Joy, and then we go into Seed. Are you sowing the seeds of your universal potential, and how can you go back to the beginning and unlock and break the patterns of the seeded behavioral patterns that you shouldn't have taken on, that might not even have been yours in the beginning? But why am I reminding you of this beautiful wheel of transformation? Saying that in another way, we are in the blue castle of transformation and inner resonance. I'm just saying the same thing in a different way, using different charts so you see the details and the wheels upon wheels. We're in the blue castle, we've done Serpent, here we are in Mirror, then we're doing Monkey, everything is an illusion, magic, and then we're going to focus on our Magic, Play, and Joy, because that's the ultimate goal of our lives. Live in magic, play, and joy, ease and graciousness, be able to manifest what it is, wake up and be happy and content every moment, and then we move into Seed. So what I just said in another way, here we're in the blue castle, and then we've got the 4 13-day adventures, right? So looking at the map, and this is the consciousness map of the castles and all the houses or the adventures. Here is the breakdown of all of the 260 days. And I showed you this last cycle in Serpent, but I want you to see this again because it's going to get really exciting, because we are on the left. See the greenies? Remember we talked about the greenie? You can't see me, but that's okay. Let's look at what's more about the chart at this time. You know what I look like. Okay, so we're going down the greenies, and the green ones are galactic activation portals. And as a reminder, if you just look at the green and you squint your eyes, doesn't that look like a DNA spiral? Yeah? So these galactic activation portals are more intense days, which allows you not only to receive the micro energy of the day. As a reminder, get them on galacticspirit.com, but it also makes the veil very thin between worlds, where you can have deeper communication with the matrix. And the clearer you are, here you go, the clearer you are with your reflective actualization, the more you will be able to see into the void, keeping in mind that our DNA and those cells, the little dormant spaces that scientists are saying are empty, are not empty at all. Those quarks, those quantums, those, I want to say microscopic particles, but they're not even microscopic. You can't see it with the microscope. I mean, the Hadron Collider in CERN breaks them up into really the space of the energy of the Big Bang, which is the same energy that created the universe that's in the ever-expanding void. That's a whole big quantum science. I don't understand it the way the quantum scientists do, but feel free to look into that so you can see the interconnected relationship, or the exact relationship, between how these micro particles in our bodies are the same micro particles of the galaxies that we can tap into the divine matrix, into the field, the universal energy of everything that exists. So here's our DNA. We're finishing the spiral. Here's where we're starting mirror. Day number 1, day number 2, day number 3. And here's where it gets really exciting. See the parallel strands of DNA there? There's one in the center. And this one in the center starts on day number 4 of mirror. And so day number 4 in mirror, day number 4 in mirror, we still have a ways to go in mirror, but day number 4 in mirror starts with dragon. And why is this exciting? Because when you look at the center spine, the backbone, the kundalini, the mirror between the left and the right hemispheres of our consciousness. Remember, this is a map of our consciousness because each one of these is a microfractal of the each 13-day cycle. In this case, each one, dragon on day 4 is the top of the backbone, of between the backbone, the corpus callosum in our brain, the center of the galaxy. However you want to look at this fractalized map of consciousness, we start with dragon. So day number 4 is 4 of 13. It is dragon energy. which is a fractal of mirror. Why is this important? Gets really juicy. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. So here, we're in ultimate reflective actualization with endless patterns of introspective mastery. Looking at, is your mirror cloudy or distorted? Or are you seeing the truth of your realization? Are you looking into the depth of your soul? And day number 4, again, the top of your backbone, one side, the crown of your corpus callosum, the center of the universe, starts with dragon, and it goes all the way down, right in the center, the entire 20 emojis in the heart center between your two hemispheres. So in mirror, we start, and I wore this scarf for you, going through, starting with dragon. Day number 5 is wind. Then we go into night. Then we go into seed. And we go all around this magnificent wheel. Put my scarf back on. This magnificent wheel of the fractals of our human consciousness, of our birthrights, 20 right down the middle of the center channel. And as we move down the channel, we're at 4 all the way to 13. And the next cycle we're into is monkey. And this day, when we start monkey, the next cycle is the heart center of the 260 days, or the heart center of the galaxy, where we break through all illusions and live in magic, play, and joy, because we have transcended using mirror to have a two-way conversation with the universe. What does the mirror do? Remember? Endless reflections. Two-way conversation with the universe. And that's why mirror is so important. It's called reflected reality. How are you being a reflection, I'm asking you again, of what you want in the world? Are you reflecting all the troubles in the world, or the dogma in your family, or dogma with religious beliefs, or insecurities that somebody else told you about yourself that wasn't true? When you are a magnificent being with unlimited resources. I wanted to share a little nugget with you. At least I thought I did. I can't find that book right now. That's okay. Moving on. So with mirror, think about a hologram. And when you think about a hologram, think about, remember those bookmarks and stuff? When you would cut a hologram, if you could see small enough into the piece that you cut, it would be the microcosm of the whole image. Let's say it was a lion or a peace symbol or whatever it would be. You would see that itty bitty peace symbol in that itty bitty piece. And that is a way that you can start thinking about how you are as that ripple in the pond. Or that you can think about as the image as your reflection out into the universal field. Whereas if you're holding your wholeness, even though it's a small piece of that hologram, you are then a whole being and reflecting that, your expression out into the universe. So think about mirrors for a second and what it means to be an inner reflection of consciousness. You know, we take on other people's stuff, you know that. And there's 3 ways that we see ourselves when we are being reflective in other, you know, with forces that are out in the world. And the whole idea is to step into wholeness by working with all of the other fractals of consciousness, especially during this time with the green gap days where you have greater connection to cosmic consciousness because the veil is very thin and you're going down the center mystic channel. And on Galactic Spirit, when you unlock the longer 2 to 3 minute meditations, we go into great detail about what all these energies mean as we experience them day by day. Day by day. So what's the mirror? How are we reflective of the moment? And think about this. 3 different ways. One is we are mirroring what is happening in the conditions in our world. Perfect example. I'm really not hungry, let's say. And all of a sudden, everybody around is eating and they're eating your favorite foods. Then all of a sudden you're hungry. Biologically, you probably weren't. But you were a mirror of everybody else sitting around the table eating and drinking all your favorite foods. Or let's say you're at a party, you know, and everybody is having fun, or you're at a scenario where everybody is sad. You are going to reflect, unless your constitution is strong enough to hold your own space, you are going to be a mirror of all and a reflection of everybody else in the group. It's called herd mentality. I'm sure you've heard about it. As compared to being your own person, shining your own light, being your own independent self with your own constitution, with your own sovereignty, holding your own space according to standing in your galactic spirit. You are reflecting the reality, you're reflecting your perceived reality of everybody in your surrounds. That's one way. 2, you can also reflect what you judge. So let's say you are, I'm guilty of this, by the way. Sometimes I think that somebody else is thinking this, that, or the other thing, and I will respond based upon what I think that they are thinking. Well, how am I being self-actualized? Itchy nose. How am I being self-actualized if, in fact, I'm thinking and responding to what I think somebody else is thinking when I have no idea what they're thinking, and I'm making a judgment which is an illusionary judgment which may or may not be true. I'm thinking that they're thinking a certain thing, but I'm projecting what I'm thinking that they're thinking as compared to really knowing because I haven't asked them. And I will never know unless I ask them. And sometimes when you ask people what in fact they're really thinking, they're going to tell you what they think that you want to hear, which is another problem. And certainly they're not being actualized. You've been there, haven't you? So for your ability to be clear, your introspective mastery, it's harder for you to respond or react, number one, in judgment, which is the first scenario, but it's kind of hard to respond if in fact the person's not being clear to you. And that is one huge benefit of Galactic Spirit, because the more people who are really becoming self-actualized, who are working the emojis, who are being able to download the emojis and the way they respond and mirror the external world, the more we will transcend human judgment. So mirror is a big deal. And when you think about human judgment, it all starts with me, right? I'm speaking for myself. I want to put it on me, not on you. But really, it all starts with you. When we, you, me, and we, when we are in judgment of another scenario that may or may not be true, the false illusion that might exist, and we're talking about false illusions next time with Monkey, when we release judgment, when we release the false illusions that we make up in our head and just being a reflection of our inner mastery, is when we are holding our space and not living in somebody else's mirror or living in our head, because we are connected to Source. We are in that holistic and holographic mirror of infinite possibilities. Back and forth, infinite possibilities, infinite matrix, infinite cosmic consciousness, with infinite downloads, with infinite ways that we can magnetize the energies that we want to come through us, because we are electromagnetic receivers and transmitters. And we're receiving truth. We just talked about human a few cycles ago. By discerning wisdom and influencing wisdom and knowing the difference between wisdom and false perceptions. And looking at the reflected reality that is of our own internal truth. So what we just talked about, the ways we look at mirrors: one, we're influenced in the moment; two, what we judge; and three, this is a tough one, why do we bring certain people to us? I'm sure you know somebody who keeps picking out the same bad lover. It's a different person, but it's not a different personality. Or bringing the same group of friends, different people, but same personality. Because as we are out in the world, we are magnetized to people, to places, to things that we think we have lost or have been taken away from us. I told you a story a while ago, I think it was in Storm, where I was magnetized to a person because there was something within her that I thought that I really wanted. I know what that is, but that's a little too personal for me to share here. There was something she had that was kind of taken away from me that I thought that I wanted. Meanwhile, if I had clarity of thought and I was looking in my own mirror and I was doing the mirror work and I wasn't being distorted by something that wasn't true, by the illusion of what I thought that I wanted, I would have never gone into that relationship, which ultimately was very painful. And through storm, look at how all the energies work together. I had to break down to break through and move on. And it was a break up, in essence. So the third way we look at mirrors out in the world is we are magnetized toward people or circumstances from a situation that was either lost, that we lost, or was taken away from us. So we want them or want that relationship, or it will fill a need. But how is that need part of your truth? And the only way you're going to know is look at that mirror from multidimensional perspectives, looking at all of the fractalized energies within the certain scenario to see the truth of whether that's true or not. You know, mirrors are two-way conversations, aren't they? What you see is what you get. What is this reflection, and is it a reflection of my true thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and emotions, whether they're conscious or they're unconscious? And all three of these scenarios that we talked about, these reflections of what's happening in our surround, what's happening in our judgment, what we think is true, and what our perceptions of truth are, and they might not be. And number three, are we pursuing something that we think that we want even though we really don't? How do you know that if you're doing that? Step into a place of gratitude, always, with all three of them. The best secret of endless patterns of introspective self-mastery is stepping into a place of gratitude, because that is what's going to clean your mirror and get rid of all distortion. Look at all the blessings that I have. So this is a very important time. Mirror. We're not only finishing the right channel, the right, actually we had just come off of the left channel of all the galactic activation portals, and we're starting the mystic channel all the way through each and every single one of the attributes of transformation. So let's drop into this. Ground yourself on the bottom with your feet on the floor. Feel the magnetic tingling, that's what I like to call it, of all the little pixelized pieces of matter, the density that we are, held together by our energy field, all the space in between the actual particles, the energy, the waves in our particle, in our particulate matter, getting kind of quantum here. The cells of our body feel and tingle. We talked about the Kundalini last cycle with our serpent. So use your life force, come into your heart. Breathe into your heart, expanding your chest all the way into your belly. We've moved through the sacral chakra all the way up to your solar plex, into your heart chakra, place of ever-expanding love. When you think about the ever-expanding universe, I like to leave my hand on my heart, because that way I can actually feel my emotion continuing to raise with the help of my Kundalini energy, the serpent coming up, and all the pixels of my cells expanding and radiating my field outward. Come up through your throat. Mean what you say what you mean. It'll help with judgments and releasing judgments. Come up to your pineal gland. They call it your third eye, but it's really centered in your brain, halfway between your brain stem and your third eye, in the center of your head, the place where you're connected to consciousness through the portal of your crown chakra, all the way up into the center of the galaxy, knowing that you are a magnificent mirror, a holographic 360-degree sphere of holographic light. Every cell is filled with elevated emotion, part of the whole. Not only every cell is a particle of the whole of you, but a holographic particle in the holographic hall of mirrors in galactic no time and no space, ever expanding, ever reflecting back and forth of each other. And know that you are a galactic channel to receive galactic messages in these powerful galactic activation portals that are reflecting the truth of your mediumship and who you are. As you go down the channel of dragon, as you go down, and I'm going to read these energies to you so I don't forget them, I don't miss any. We start with dragon. Dragon is all about redefining your future. How are you defining your life purpose? Now is another chance to do that. We did that 13-day cycles ago, but now's an opportunity to really hone in on it with your reflective actualization. So you've got another chance. It's always another chance to ever deepen. Next up, after the 5th day, is wind. And wind is all about bringing in your spiritual voice and your divine breath and your multidimensional psychic communications. Day number 3 is night, multidimensional abundance, to activate unlimited and inspirational dreams. I should be doing these with the cards. There you go. These are out of order. Let me see if I can do. Next day is the seed. Seed within mirror. Seed within mirror as you go down the channel. Seed, how are you going to fulfill your full potential with flowering ease and grace? Next, serpent. We talked about serpent last cycle. Initiating passion with primal instinct and the catalyst. How are you the catalyst of reflective actualization and your inner mastery? Next, world bridger. How are you going to have the ultimate surrender to judgment, to being in reflection of that what doesn't serve you, or in reflection of some limitation that you thought that you want, but you don't, because you're transcending into reflective gratitude. That is mastery. I want to make sure I'm in order here. So hand inside mirror. How are you healing all your possibilities? What is your intuitive knowing? And how are you expressing and communicating and embodying your expressions with the world? How are you using your hands? That's a metaphor. How are you using your essence to communicate what it is that you're on the planet for and your gifts are for? Day number 11. Are you shining your star? Are you being your bright light? Are you living in beauty way and creative beauty and experience your sensory perceptions through reflective actualization and mastery? Moon, are you in fluid transcendence? Are you releasing thoughts and emotions that are not of service to you? That is the third level of how we're being a reflector, isn't it? Isn't that how we're being a third way of reflecting our reality? Thinking that we want something and we really don't. Thinking that we lost it, but we never lost it in the first place. Or thinking that there's something that this person has that we don't, whether it's a physical thing or whether it's an emotional thing or a status thing or who knows what it is. You know, because you're reflecting the truth by looking at yourself in the mirror. And on the last day of mirror, as we're going down this magnificent center channel, the center channel, the mystic channel, the core of the universe, the core and final spinal column of our body, our corpus callosum, separating left and right, positive and negative. Negative isn't bad, it's just the polarity of positive that allows for cellular division and gravity and every other force of nature. Left and right brains. In mirror, we end with the heart and the energy of dog. Day number 13. How are we using our ever-expanding love above all else, unconditional love and self-compassion with reflective actualization? Unconditional acceptance to ourselves, especially when we think we have faltered and we haven't faltered at all. Remember, we're here, we're embodied, we're alive to experience all the riches that life has to offer us, and to be better today than we were yesterday, and be better tomorrow than we were today, and to take these magnificent emojis of expressions, expressing every single birthright in order to bring us and balance us into wholeness, is what we're here for. So breathe into you stepping into wholeness, using the infinite power of a mirror to look deep into your soul. What behavioral patterns are serving you and which aren't? And I would say most behavioral patterns aren't serving you. Now, I'm not talking about brushing your teeth, and I'm not talking about the stuff that we do need in our third dimensional lives. I'm talking about behaviors that are preconditioned. We talked about the cycles a few cycles ago about exploring the unknown and doing things differently and not having any preconceived notions, because that's an endless Groundhog Day. We get stuck in the loop and we never learn anything new. Or we say we want to change, but we don't look beyond what we think we know. And the truth is, we don't know anything. You know, the less you think you know, the more open and receptive you are to the holographic universe to drop in downloads of information, especially during the center channel, more than ever. The center of the universe, as well as on this cycle of time, the blue castle, the time of transformation, the center of the left and the right hemispheres, right and left brains, center of transformation, where we really start to understand our inner resonance and raise our frequency and vibration. Every single emoji, each one of these squares is representative of one of these powerful energies, not just the ones in the center, because the ones that we've already experienced on the left side are fractals of the ones in the center, and the ones on the right side are ones that are going to deepen what we've learned. And every time we go around each one of these wheels, our relationship deepens. So just breathe into that. Be a galactic mirror of transformation and reflect your inner truth. Be in gratitude. Be a master of introspection. Next up, we talked about a little bit, continuing down the center column. How do we minimize our illusionary world, what we think is true? The mirror will help us have that clarity. Do the work now. It'll help us when we get to monkey, because monkey is all about magic, play, and joy. At the center of our cycle. It's about spontaneous delight. It's about enjoying your inner child and knowing your true self. It's powerful. So signing off, big love to you. In Lakesh, I'm another yourself. As you know, that's another way to say namaste. The light within me honors the light within you. The heart within my galactic spirit is one and the same as your heart filled with galactic spirit.